Goodfellas Sports TV. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, bell icon button. Share the video if you missed our live yesterday and our reaction to Jermell Charlo knocking out Tony Harrison. We did it late last night, early this morning. So I'll link the reaction and live in the description under source links. If you have been following my channel, then you know that I told you it was already a handshake agreement that the winner between Tony Harrison and Jermell Charlo 2, which was Jermell Charlo, will be taking on J-Rock next sometime next year. Now, J-Rock got a fight in Philadelphia, homecoming fight versus Jason Rosario, which he was originally supposed to rematch September or December, like 15th or 18th, whatever it was. But I think it was 14th. But Jer Hurd opted to change his team and retool, and learn his fundamentals. But next year, it should put Mel versus J-Rock in the middle of the year, or maybe at the end of the year. They only really fight once or twice a year. So if they both fought basically within about a month of each other, December 21st and January 18th, they probably come back hitting on PBC November, maybe October if we lucky, September. I know Brian Carlos Castanos is going to be trying to fight Patrick Teixeira for the WBO. I don't know if they're going to order the purse bid or just order Golden Boy Premier Boxing Champions to negotiate for the fight. So PBC is probably planning on putting on Undisputed in 2020 or 2021 in the 154-pound division. All right, so let me just say that. So you can get one face, one name, one champion at 154. And it's funny how the PBC, they recognize the WBO when it's most convenient for them. All right, but it is what it is. We're not going to sit here crying and complain about ancient history right now. But it's a nice little backstory here. Jermell Charlo actually beat Julian J. Rock. That's the big Charlo. The Charlo that's at 160. He dropped him with a jab. And also, he dropped him with 1 in a million counter shot that he probably couldn't do again, in my opinion. But this happened a few years ago. In building up to that fight, J-Rock accused Jermell Charlo of using steroids and flushing them out of the system before the fight. Now, I want to explain the backstory fully. Is why I made the video a little bit longer. The backstory was, leading up to that, before that fight happened, Jermell Charlo had fought Austin Trout and looked a little bit lethargic. A lot of people thought Austin Trout could have won that fight. We talking about the big Charlo that's at 160, not Mel, who won last night. Clarify that. So, the big Charlo was saying that Jermell, that he was trying to see if he wanted to stay at 54. He was contemplating moving up because it was hard to make the weight. But in the meantime, he got a medical exception from the IBF, to kind of extend it a little bit. He said because he was considered legally blind, if my memory serves me correctly. He had LASIK surgery to repair his vision. Meanwhile, Julian Williams, J-Rock, and his coach Stephen Bredman paraded around the media, and leading up to this fight, they said that he was flushing steroids out of the system. Same thing they did with Jer Hurd. You remember when they were saying, oh, Jer Hurd, through Twitter, you need to join VADA. If you don't join VADA right now, no fight, no rematch, no VADA. So now they turned the public against Jer Hurd. Now people are questioning if Jer Hurd is using steroids. And that's kind of where the history of the Charlos and Errol Spence being on roids or performance-enhancing drugs started. That didn't start from the new media, the old media, the new media, the white media, the print media, white Americans, British fans. That came from the own black boxing community. You remember Demetrius Andrade, he did an interview accusing Errol Spence of doing steroids, and then he backtracked. Then you got Andre Rozier, after Danny Jacobs beat Derevchenko, saying that the Charlos was on steroids. He said Jermell. So that came from the little East Coast part. But this is where it originated from, right? And also, to put some sauce on this, Jermell Charlo, according to J-Rock and Stephen Bredman, he refused to take VADA drug testing. And obviously, he was the champion. It was his prerogative. He's not obligated to any VADA drug testing for his IBF belt. He only had to do whatever commission they fought in, the commission testing. Okay? But when he elected not to fight, not to do the drug testing, then J-Rock got to start, like, he flushed stuff out of the system. And my whole thing, kind of leading up to that fight, and then looking at it in hindsight, was that if he don't do testing, then don't fight for the belt. Go fight for another belt. You know what I'm saying? That was the whole thing about it. They still fought for the belt. They lost. You know, got stopped. Got dropped twice with a jab. Was doing well in the fight, other than the drop and the stoppage. But he got humbled that night, J-Rock. J-Rock was talking a lot of cash shit. How Tony Harrison was talking junk leading up to the Jermell Charlo fight. That's how J-Rock was talking to Jermell. The difference was they didn't have a platform of Fox. That wasn't a huge fight at the time. And J-Rock got humbled. You know what I'm saying? And if you remember, after the J-Rock and Jermell Charlo fight, what happened was J-Rock came to give him a hug, and Jermell was like, F that. All that stuff you was talking about me, and would you try to shake hands and show good sportsmanship for somebody that tried to rip your character, and now everybody accusing you and the people from your state of Texas of being on performance-enhancing drugs and steroids? Would you shake hands with him? Because that public perception had never changed about the Charlo twins or Errol Spence. So why would I shake hands with you? You know? So that's when the world started hating the Charlo twins. Because he knocked J-Rock out and J-Rock wanted to shake hands, but people didn't see the build-up to the fight. The build-up was basically some new media stuff. So now we have it here with a great backstory. You have a situation where 2020, you can have Jermell Charlo and J-Rock lined up, long as J-Rock handled business in his hometown fight versus Rosario January 18th. And then you have a situation where Jermell Charlo can take on Demetrius Andrade in 2020. Now, people saying that J-Rock got a soft chin because he got dropped by Jermell Charlo. What I look at it was a learning experience. He was outpointing Charlo. He was landing some great shots on Jermell Charlo. But the difference is this, before I go off. Jermell Charlo is a real puncher, especially at 54. He had real puncher power. Jermell Charlo ain't half the puncher that that Jermell is. Okay? So let's get that understood. He ain't got that same hydrogen or dynamite in his gloves as Big Charlo do. He not as tall or as rangy, I believe, as that Charlo. But it's a good fight. But I think this is redemption for J-Rock. I do. I think J-Rock can use pretty much the same game plan he used versus Jer Hurd. That's put Charlo on the back foot like Tony Harrison did. But the difference was Tony Harrison kept exchanging hooks with him. That was the difference. He got tired. People want to say, oh, he lost focus. He lost focus because of that body work Charlo put in. J-Rock is a more conditioned athlete. Obviously, he got snack. He got a strength and conditioning coach. I think Tony Harrison got a strength and conditioning coach from the hood. He don't have the same financial backing that J-Rock have. So J-Rock gonna come in better shape. And one thing J-Rock can do is he can come behind the stick, and I believe he gonna walk Charlo. He gonna do the same thing that that Tony Harrison did. He gonna walk Charlo down, and he's going to chop him down and bully him in those corners. He's a better inside fighter than Tony Harrison is, and I believe the game plan is going to be put Charlo on the back foot and pressure him. Julian Jackson's son did it to him. Vines Monterosian did it to him. And Tony Harrison did it to him. And I think that's what Julian Williams is going to look to do. He's going to look to come behind the jab, pressure him, put him on the back foot, and handle him on the ropes and work his body. So all you got to do is put pressure on Jermell Charlo. If you don't let Jermell Charlo get off on the front foot with Derrick James, pressure him, walk him down, and basically, beat him up. Same way he beat Jer Hurd is the way he gonna beat Jermell Charlo. But the problem is this: Jermell Charlo is got all the attributes as far as physically. He got speed, he got stamina, he got a hell of a chin, and he got heart. All he do is got the wrong trainer. You know what I'm saying? But I believe J-Rock is a bad style for him. You know what I'm saying? I think it's a bad style for him. I think he got to change some things. I think a guy like him and J-Rock who can box, hit, not get hit, I think it's a bad matchup. But I wouldn't write the kid off, Charlo, at all. But I think it's a real bad matchup for him. You know what I'm saying? You know, them big shots coming in, just the big 1-2s and the left hook. J-Rock real slick, real technical. He gonna have to catch him. And, you know, it's another guy that been dropped and stopped before. So mentally for Charlo, when you never lose faith when you fighting a guy who already been knocked out before, because it's in your mind it can be done. It can be done. My brother did it. I can do it. So, you know, he gonna be in there to the end. But I think J-Rock a little bit too technical, and I think he got a little bit too many tools for him. I do. I think he got a little bit too many tools for him. I expect him to beat Jermell, Charlo, and possibly, you know, unify the division. I mean, him and Castanos, that's something I ain't really envisioned before. But before he fight Castanos, it could be a rematch with Jerry Hurd. So I think J-Rock got the inside track. I think he got the inside track on being undisputed right now. But I think you can't write Mel off. But I think he all bad for Mel. Mel is terrible with Derrick James. You know what I'm saying? He very terrible. But he can fight. He need to be with a coach that fits his ability. See, he mentally wants to be his brother. He wants to be a power punching, seek and destroy fighter, but God blessed him with good footwork, good speed, good boxing ability, but he not comfortable in his own skin. But even when he was a boxer, a guy that could slip, pivot, hit and don't get hit, watch the Gabriel Rosado fight. Even though he was that guy, guys that pressured Jermell Charlo beat him or they had success. They had success. You know, they had success versus him. So, you know, if J-Rock can apply intelligent pressure without getting caught, I believe he'll have a lot of success with Jermell Charlo. I think he should win. I think he should be the 60-40 favorite to win that fight, depending on how he look versus Rosario. But for Charlo, in the back of his mind, he don't want to let his brother outdo him. In the back of his mind, you know, J-Rock been knocked out before. But I do think it's a big fight. Hopefully they don't make it pay-per-view, because I don't think neither one of them is big enough to be pay-per-view. I think this is a great regular Fox fight. And hopefully they make a regular Fox. Hopefully they don't put it on main pay-per-view or a co-main event on pay-per-view. And I think the backstory between J-Rock and Jermell, you know, and if Jermell fight Demetrius Andrade, it could be Texas versus the East Coast type of year. But, you know, Jermell and Demetrius Andrade, that's another solid fight. I think it kind of remind you of both. I mean, Demetrius Andrade never got knocked out, but people believe he may beat Cheney. But I could see a situation with him just outpointing Maul. And at the end, Maul knocking him out like Mel did Tony Harrison. I could see that. J-Rock just outpointing Charlo into the 11th, 12th round. And maybe Charlo stopped him. And Charlo's got amazing stamina. You know what I'm saying? They strong. They got heart. They got speed. They got great athletes. But they just don't have the best boxing skills. They're not the most technical. If they're going to beat boxers, it's going to be that they outwilled them, they outhard them. They're not going to outbox too many people out there, in my opinion. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Don't forget, we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach out to the email if you got business, question, inquiry, sponsorship, or video requests. Keep checking out the channel. Want to make a donation? That link's in the description. Best way to donate, share the video, and check out all our boxing playlists. Appreciate the love and support. One time for the one time. It's your boy CJ Goodfella, Goodfella Sports TV. Let me know who you got winning, Mel or J.